I'm now joined with Anna Hughes, who is the Director of Landlord and Legal Services at Woodstock Legal Services here today. Anna, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So we've got lots to talk about. I think first really important thing to mention is that you actually you won the award last year at the Landlord Investment Show Awards, which is our show awards, and that was for Women in Property of the Year.
Oh, I was delighted.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
You deserve that. Absolutely. It was really lovely, and yeah, it was incredible. And I know I don't ever have anything to do with any of the judging just because I just shouldn't and I couldn't. But when I did actually have a chat with some of the judges afterwards, and some of the marks in the paper and comments was really lovely. So well done, you. That was lovely. So really, I'm doing this series one to really kind of talk about women in property and what are the opportunities out there and why do we all get into this, but also really important that we are, we're celebrating International Women's Day. So yeah, let's start off with a couple of questions. So what was your first move in property and really what inspired it, Anna?
Yeah, so I actually started off doing a good sturdy degree, a law degree. I then trained as a lawyer and I effectively fell into landlord and tenant, and I just got a real passion for it because it's a really niche, complex area of law and there's just so many opportunities out there for it. So yeah, I've just grown in this role. I've now got a team of about 10 to 15 running these type of cases and helping landlords in the private renter sector.
That's amazing. So you've been with Woodstock for a long time, haven't you? How many years have you been?
Got about 11 years now.
Yeah, so really right almost from the beginning.
Yeah, I actually started as a self-employed consultant at Woodstock, so that was about 11 years ago. I then joined as a director a couple of years after, just to be part of something a little bit bigger. I just had a real passion at growing teams, helping landlords, and there's only so much that you can do when you're on your own. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed the role.
Yeah, well, certainly there's certainly been a lot of changes and a lot of help that landlords definitely need. So you picked the right area for sure, and it's never a dull moment and never boring.
Yeah.
So when you obviously started out, what was the sort of barriers that you faced? Did you face any particular barriers?
I think there's always going to be an element of professional and personal challenges that people come up against, and I think it's all about your attitude in terms of let's jump over these barriers, let's not see this as a problem, and let's sort of flip it. It's building resilience, I think, is a really key thing, and it's just keep developing that resilience. So if you do come across a barrier, how can you get yourself over that barrier and how can you flip it?
Yeah, and I suppose it's like having a portfolio, isn't it? It's like scaling.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you scale that? Or, do you just stay still? Or, it's getting through those barriers. And I suppose as well, it's the scare factor. You can either say at one level or you take the next dive into the next, don't you? So, I mean, obviously being in the industry now for quite some time, you must have seen some changes along that time. I mean, how has it changed for you since you started?
It's a lot more professional now, which is, I think, really nice to see. And I think it's driving standards up as well in the industry. A lot more people are out there educating themselves, taking use of resources like exactly all your resources that you've got out there. And I just think it's so important for people to get stuck in and do that.
Yeah, amazing. And then more on a kind of personal note. So what's been your most proud moment in your journey so far?
Oh, I would probably say winning the award for Women in Property. Yeah, I was just absolutely delighted and really pleased because it's a really crucial time as well for the industry at the moment with the amount of changes that are ongoing. And my team as well winning for the 4th year in a row, Best Landlord Legal Provider. So I just think that's a massive achievement. So really proud of that.
Oh no, absolutely. And I think, what's lovely is the environment, and actually what you have created at Woodstock is that flexibility of working as well for this whole sector, and how that's actually changed lives, rather than doing if you're in that practice and it's it's a very rigid I would imagine day, but obviously Woodstock has created it's working to your full potential at doing what you're really good at, but obviously having a flexibility. So that must be incredibly, you know, proud for you to see that.
Yeah,
to see
I
that
think
happening.
it's so different as well to traditional law firms. You know, I remember working in a law firm back in the day where I was having to drive an hour each way, and you think what you could be doing with that time on your commute. And it's, you know, it's so much more beneficial for us. And it also opens up the talent pool a lot further up and down the country, rather than us just having to have people that are local. You know, you'll still get the challenges in terms of you need to build those connections with teams. So you're, you know, having to do that online a lot more. But yeah, I think the freedom, the flexibility, you know, especially for people that have got children, they want to do school pickups, you know, they want to be there and go to their school, you know, whatever the kids are doing for school. And I just think it's so important in this day and age. And I think the pandemic was obviously the start of this flexible working, you know, where people started thinking, oh, maybe we can do things a little bit differently. And maybe it doesn't have to be everyone in an office from 9 to 5. You know, I always say I'm great first thing in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm one of these crazy people that wants to be at my laptop working.
Me
you know,
too.
I'm probably, you know, by 3 o'clock, I'm probably on a bit of a lull. But you've got other people that want to work throughout the night. So I think it's just about adapting to, you know, however is best people to work for that productivity.
Yeah, no, totally agree. So what would be the one piece of advice that you would give, you know, give to women like starting off now, you know, thinking about getting into the law side of things and, you know, what routes to take? What bit of advice would you give them?
I would say there's so much opportunity out there. I think law, there's so many different fields that you can go into. You know, sometimes it doesn't even have to be law. There's so many things property related that people can do. And it's a case of just getting out there, building your connections, you know, making a network of people. Also, I suggest having a mentor, that someone who can guide you and help you. You know, I think that's really, really invaluable in the industry nowadays. But it's just about building connections and seeing where your lane is and how you fit in and what you enjoy doing.
Amazing. And I can see, wouldn't it be amazing to have, you know, a Woodstock Academy of new people
we joke
coming
about
through.
that, but we've actually called it Woodstock Academy.
Honestly, I can see that. That is something, because I think it would inspire so many young people and even, you know, people that are looking for that career change and looking for that flexibility. You know, as you say, whether you are, you know, a busy mum or whether or not you've got other commitments, you've got parents to look after, or it's a dad, you know, that's kind of, you know, that's sharing that load at home. So I think this is something we can work on. I can see we can get this going. I mean, my niece is actually so keen to get involved in law, and she's just like, where would I start and what do I do? So got your first student?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Come and join us.
So Anna, amazing, like having a chat with you today. And what I really want to find out as well is what's your rise factor and what makes you rise as a woman in property?
I think it's having a real sense of resilience. It's your mindset. So waking up every day, you know, are you going to make this a good day or not? Obviously, you're going to have bad days, but I think it's how you overcome those bad days. And, you know, everyone's going to have a blip in the road, and it's just making sure that you push past that and keep going, and just having a real determination.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you do, like, you know, when you are having, what's your go-to thing to relax? Like, because we all have those bad days and think, oh, here we go. You know, how do I do this? Like, what gets you through that? What's your relaxing time for Anna? Yeah,
I love going to the gym, working out. I also love just putting Netflix on and watching some rubbish telly and not having to concentrate. I can't ever watch anything to do with courts and trials though, because that has to be a bit of separation with work sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's getting that switch off, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because your mind is always fully loaded, I can imagine. Yeah. Well, Anna, it's been such a pleasure catching up with you today. Really enjoyed coming down to see the gang here and have a good chat, and I'm sure you will inspire lots of people, lots of young people that might want a career change. You know, that there are other options in the sort of, you know, getting into law, and it can be flexible. So thank you so much for the time today, and we will see you very soon at one of the shows. Cheers, Anna.
Thank you.